Hello families, it's Mr. Laz here, and I'm so excited to explain to you about an activity that I'm going to be sending home with your student later this week. I mentioned in the newsletter, but this week we've been talking about subtracting integers in our math lesson. So specifically, we've been looking at subtracting two positive numbers to receive the difference of a negative number, like 3 minus 4 equals -1. The reason we've been looking at that now is because last week your students had the opportunity to work with a number story in which a character, Aiden, had to collect money from his friends to go grocery shopping. And one thing that I saw from a number of your students is that your students were trying to account for the way that Aiden could contribute money himself. That's to say that they were asking how to show the fact that Aiden still needed to contribute money into the total. So what happened is we had some students who would put answers like 30 minus 40, and they wouldn't be quite sure what to do, so they'd put 10 because they knew the difference there was 10. But what we're looking at this week is explaining how to use that negative sign to more accurately represent the value that you're working with. So, since they're ready to apply what they know about profit and loss, those are the words that we've been using specifically. If you want to keep things consistent, is when you have more money, it's a profit, and if you don't have enough money, that's a loss. We've been focusing on how bigger numbers that are negative mean you owe more money. So we've been focusing on how the difference from 0 affects and changes how much that is and how the value is affected. So we've been really looking at the difference between -100 and 100 and asking students to recognize which one means that you have more money. So here's what I'm asking you to do if you have the chance. I'm going to be sending home this packet. It's a 3-page packet this week that if you don't have time to do, please don't feel pressured. Every family has different circumstances and that's completely fine, but for every page that your student is able to complete, that will be a little bit of extra credit for them, but more importantly, it will put them in an amazing spot to really tie what we're learning in class to a real-world experience. So I'm going to walk you through these pages and explain some of the things that you have the opportunity to do with your child and that would really help them immensely in an academic setting and really allow you to be a part of what's happening in our classroom. So the first page would happen if you could sit down and if your family participates in meal planning or you plan what you're going to eat throughout the week, this would be a great page for your child to work on with you to plan what the different ingredients are for each meal. That's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then snacks that they might need for Monday through Friday. So if you go on a regular weekly shopping trip, this would be a great page to pre-plan before the shopping trip. The next thing, and the main page that I'm really wanting to focus on, so if you don't have time to do anything else but your child can work on this next page, please have them do that because that will help them really, really see how they can work with profit and loss. It's going to be completing a budget for the shopping trip. So any items, if you are able to complete the first page that they need to buy, they're going to write under items. Then they're going to put the price for each item. They'll then put the quantity of each item. So if they need 2 dozen eggs, they'd put 2 in that quantity box. And then they're going to put the balance then they're going to, as they shop, subtract the cost of each item from their initial budget balance. So that's where they need to ask you, or they should be asking you, what the budget is. An estimate is okay for their shopping trip. And they're going to put that up here under beginning balance and subtract each item's cost and put the remainder in that box. Then at the end, they're going to have the opportunity to list the total number of items, the total cost of all items purchased. They're going to remind themselves what the beginning balance was, and then they will write the total balance left. This is really where we're asking students to be able to identify a positive or a negative number so that they can really see, did we go over budget and end up needing more money and owing more money, and that means that we would have had a negative balance left, or did we not spend as much money as we thought and we actually have a positive balance left? After they complete that page, the last page of the packet, and again, I'm going to send this home with your child and also upload this to the email with this video. So if you can't see it too clearly in the video, I apologize, but you'll be able to see it and follow along as well. The next is just going to be some questions for your child to reflect on, or you guys could discuss this on your own. If you choose to discuss it, I'm fine if you would like to initial the page, and I'll give them credit for answering those questions as well. Those questions are: what were they surprised by from the amount of money you spent, and explaining, or were you surprised by the amount of money you spent, explaining why or why not? What changes could you make to your grocery list to save money? That's a great discussion point for you guys to have about how things would change if you bought more or bought less, and really talking about the difference from zero. And then what's one thing that surprised you while completing the activity, and why is it important to decide how much money you are going to spend before you go shopping? If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at my school email address. Otherwise, thank you so much for your involvement in your child's education, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help or make your lives easier.